So this is my part 2 video of was your system installed by a professional or a hack? So first thing you always want to look at, isolation valve, which is what we do have and it's accessible, and we do have a Y strainer. Next we want to look at our double check, and it doesn't appear to have any pea gravel in there. This needs to have some pea gravel, but these are all accessible. This is actually a decent install of the point of connection. But that's about it where this system draws its line in terms of being installed by a professional. Everything else is a nightmare. Let me show you. So when I arrived, I went straight to the controller. This house was built within the last 5 years, which means this system is less than 5 years old. Yet the contractor decided to install an X-Core. This is like one of the worst controllers Hunter has. It has a terrible life expectancy. It works, but there are so many better options. If you've got a contractor that's installing one of these, tell them that you want a better one, because this one is barely going to last that long. Next thing, this is a brand new install. No rain freeze sensor. A rain freeze sensor is a requirement. We're in the water conservation business. If you install a new controller, you must install a rain freeze sensor. We need to look after water. It's something we don't have a lot of, so we need to make sure that we're being careful with it. Next thing, I then went through all of the ohms, and the homeowner was convinced that this controller was broken. It's not, it's working perfectly. There was no good ohms reading. I was getting infinity on every single wire. And the reason for that, I've actually pulled it up now. The wire on the initial install, the only thing I can think is that they filled the trench and forgot to put the wire in, so then put the wire in afterwards. But the wire, I mean, you can see it here. This is the original wire, and it's not even below the ground. I mean, literally the grass is lying on top of it. I had a break here, which I then spliced back together. So then I got a good ohms reading at this valve. So now this valve was then working at the wire, but then the other two valves weren't working at all. I pulled up the wire and so many breaks. This was the original wire that was below grade. It's just constant breaks. So what we've done for today is I've run the wire above grade. This yard hasn't been watered in a very long time. So trying to dig a trench for this wire is just going to be way too time consuming. So for today, we've got it working above grade. This is where the wire ends, so from here to the front, this wire is actually pretty good. So actually, I've got good ohms reading, so everything's working. We're going to give this a month or two to actually get some water on the ground. Once we've got some water ground and the soil is a bit softer, then we can come back, we can give a bid for new wire in the ground. But having a brand new system and having the wire just lying on the ground to get broken is crazy, absolutely bananas. And let me take you around, because I mean it gets even worse. We got around the corner where we had a lateral line leak, and I mean look how low this pipe is. This is the repair that I did, and I mean that's crazy low. We're looking at barely 2 inches, and I mean according to the rules and regs, if you are in a predicament where you can't dig deep, 2 inches is fine. But you have absolutely no reason whatsoever to not be able to dig a trench deeper than that for 1/2 inch pipe. And then let me take you to the very end. This is the wildest thing of all that I've seen on a brand new install. So I've got ahead and I've turned this front zone on. So this is zone 1, and this operates this section. So we've got these MP rotators. But we've got nothing in here, yet we have green grass. And we actually had a leak here and a leak on the other side. When these MP rotators are running, we have drip in this section running at the same time, which makes sense. This is a small area, it should be drip. But these two should be on completely different zones. They have completely different run times. This, you're going to be running it for a lot longer than this, because this gives out a smaller gallons per minute. This you're probably going to be running for like 20 to 25 minutes. This, you could be running this easily for like 30 minutes. I mean, 30 to 40 minutes. Whoever installed this had no idea what they were doing, and the point of this video is, if you are considering installing or getting somebody to install a sprinkler system for you, this is the reason why you don't go for the lowest bidder, because you're just going to have problems later on. You're going to be upset with it, and by the time you've given your money to that contractor, they don't care anymore. They're not in the service world, they're just in the installs. They're there to get it in and leave, and then it will be people like me that then turn up and tell you that you've just wasted 6 grand on a cheap sprinkler system, when if you'd spent a couple extra, you would have had an incredible sprinkler system that works for years and years to come.